I don't know how I did that. That's weird. There we go. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Pull it back a little bit on y'all so you can see. All right. Cheerio. How you doing, mate? Give me a moment here. I'm gonna. I already have a mic on. Let me grab. I don't know what I did with it. I took it off. Yeah, I could get a little bit more laid back on YouTube. I know this mic gonna go out. So bear with me. I'm trying to find my. Yeah, I don't know what I did with it. Guess we're gonna have to go without the mic. Oh, and it's showing the wrong way. Damn. Yeah, I don't know how to get this thing to do that. Doing my best, y'all. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Thank you for your patience. I'm gonna figure this shit out. YouTube gotta be so difficult. Just can't. Gotta shoot regular. That shit is doing all type of bullshit.
I cannot cancel orders for you, as I don't have access to your personal shopping accounts or financial data.
I didn't ask none of that. What the hell going on? The AI's trying to take over. I asked him for that. Okay. Okay, there we go. I guess that's as straight as it's going to get, I guess, for now. I can't see the being in the chat. If it's somebody that's ta-da. How you like me now? All right. There we go. Perfect. Good enough. How you doing? It's your beloved brother, Dr. Ray of OrgoniteTEK. Let me take this down just a tad. All right. Yeah. We still continuing on from the TikTok. You know, TikTok don't, they be filtering me out. Let me see. It's still going over a little bit. Let me use the bigger chair. Yeah, so the TikTok, who we got up in the room? Make yourself visible for me so I could. I'm not on my page. I'm on my backup YouTube so that I could see the video. Maybe I should go to my regular page, huh? Let's see here. Switch accounts. Well, we got 440 subscribers now. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I still can't see who in the live, who's in the queue. And that's okay. We're not tripping on that. We're not tripping on it. You know, again, I got to give it up to the 1089 tech community. I'm your beloved brother, Dr. Ray of OrgoniteTEK, master OrgoniteTEK builder, teacher of raynology, wielder of primordial energy. I am my ancestors' keeper. I am an altar activation expert and a master of alignment. And I don't know what's going on, if it's the full moon or what it is, but I just have to tell some of you people, if you're not in the 1089 tech community, if you haven't taken a discourse or anything like that, you know, don't act like, excuse me. If you're not in the 1089 tech community, if you haven't purchased any of the devices or something like that, don't talk to me speculatively. I just had a young lady. I'm not going to say your name because you went to school. I put two and two together. But don't pretend like I'm playing pretend with you, right? She got kind of offended by something I said about the women in the Western world. And I said that they're wayward. And you're going to have to prove me wrong on that. Because they got OnlyFans up. You know what I mean? You got little girls here in America that are being human trafficked, but you got some that can't wait to have sex and wait to get OnlyFans when they was 12 years old. You know, and like I said on the TikTok, I don't know if you was listening on the TikTok, but a lot of women take their social cues from whores. They do. And she wrote this long ass tangent out talking about the divine and you don't have no divinity in you. The female, what's the name, is not in me and all of this bullshit. And it's like, what I supposed to be, a half a fag? Right? Is that what I supposed to do? I supposed to act, zesty and shit? I'm going to be a man. I was generated into this organism to be a man. So I'm going to be a man for that time. Gender is only a third dimensional construct. Once you go into the spiritual universe, and I'm talking to that sister, I'm sure you probably see it in hindsight. I don't think you have enough courage to, dialogue with me face to face, because this is Q&A with Dr. Ray, and I was not meaning to offend you because I said that the women are wayward, and I'm not going to retract the statement either. I meant what I said, and I stand on what I say. I got 4 sisters. I got over 10 females, including cousins, right? And some aunts. If I count my aunts, it's about 12, 14 of them that I can include in the soliloquy that I give on women being wayward. Very whimsical. You know what I mean? Women are very whimsical. They don't want to go into the direction of control. Not in case there's some money involved, right? Now I'm not in contact with my feminine side because I'm pointing out the inconsistencies in women's behavior. That's a false awareness. Hell, you're only gonna be a woman for about 100 years, and after that, you're not no woman no more, right? You don't be a woman after that because you don't got a body to have a gender. You got a projection of who you used to be on earth. That's the closest thing in the spiritual realm that you could get to having a gender. Other than that, spirits don't have mammary glands. Etheric beings do not have reproductive organs. And the soul doesn't have limbs, body, or muscle. So what you're capable of understanding when it comes to gender should be put into the form of a question instead of an assumption when it comes to addressing things on the 1089 TV platform. That's why I tell people to ask questions, right? And shouts out to Shamari. He the only one to shout out to Shamari. Shamari go ask questions. Sometimes you answer your own damn questions, you know. Sometimes I think you just be asking the question just for the sake of asking the damn question. I'm just being honest with you, Shamari. But nonetheless, at least you asking the damn question, right? And this is what I said earlier. People be afraid to ask questions. They don't want their range of perception to show when they do ask the question. That's on you, man. That's on you. But I'm not begging nobody to follow me. I'm not here to twist nobody's arm and trying to overconvince you. I do not try. I do not try. We got 200 people in the community, man. And I just got to keep it 10K with you. You not one of them. You know, I haven't spoken to you on the phone. Your number ain't in my thing. So for you to leave that long ass tangent like that, you just pretty much unveiled yourself, you know, and I'm not trying to get on you. Like I said, my intention, that wasn't directed at you. You know, you may have been triggered by it, but that wasn't my intention, right? But a hit dog will holler. Say that's one of your deficits. You ain't think you knew enough, huh? Hey, man, you can't never know it all. I tell everybody in the conscious of context, context and consciousness, you know, I still operate from an incompetent in consciousness. I'm in between unconscious incompetence and a conscious incompetence. I'm in between there. That's what leaves me open and receptive to receiving more. Because I don't attempt to get over on myself and be like, man, I don't like to give off the air that I know more than what I actually do know. And I tend to say quite consistently that I don't know nothing. You know what I mean? I don't attempt to even cover everything. I just stay in the ray, which is the soul, the Latin word for the sun, which we have a sun. We are a sun, and that sun is burning in the center mass of your chest. And listen, that aspect of you does not have a body, right? You have a body, but it is not a body. It doesn't have organs. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have limbs. And a lot of people can't process things that far. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, you see what I always say, Shamari, what I tell you, just cover the physical knowledge, man. Just deal with the physical dimensions of things. That's it. Because I done did it 1089. It'll be This would be the 10th cycle of 1089s I've done, right? And I told y'all that's the magic number. That's 3 years, right? 1,089 days is equivalent to 3 years. And a day to the beings from those that had grew this form on this planet. 1,000 days to us, 1,089 days to us is 1 day to them. It's only 1 day. So they're looking at time different than how we're able to perceive it from the mortal capacity, right? So all you really got to pay attention to is who you are on an atomic level, a molecular level, on the cellular level, right? The plasmatic aspects of you, the tissues, the organs, the muscles, and the bones. It may be overwhelming to some. And I could vividly remember when I got all of this. I was in the 11th grade, and I had a hating ass science teacher. He was a hater because he was trying to talk to all of the girls in the classroom with his fat sloppy ass. Right? I remember your punk ass from Southside High School in Atlanta, Georgia, right off of Glenwood. For anybody that's watching this in the, you know, after the live is ended. And that motherfucker didn't like me. I did the whole damn, we had to dissect the cat and name all 206 bones inside the cat. And I did it. I had it color coded and everything. That motherfucker still gave me a D. He was a hating ass motherfucker. Oh, light-skinned ass nigga. He was, some people will say I'm light-skinned, but no, I'm not light like that. I'm not light bright. I'm peanut butter, right? Copper. This nigga was hating on me so tough, and I did my diligence on it. That's why I was so pissed, because I did everything. I'm like, yo, what did I do wrong? He was like, he didn't even tell me what I did wrong. He says, you talk too much in my class, and that's why I gave you a D. I was like, nah, man, but my work is immaculate. What the fuck is you talking about? He was mad because I was from up north, and you know, that being in Atlanta in the 90s, the women talk with a certain type of accent. And he didn't like that, man. He didn't like that they was giving me the attention that they was giving me. He was a hater. But that started things off with me on opening up the body and knowing the veins, the arteries. I was breaking shit down back then in high school, right? He said, oh, yeah. He said, Mike, oh, you remember his name? Somebody remembered that nigga. Tayson, that was his name? Or you ain't here trolling. I don't know. I don't know if that was that fucker's name, but if it was, it don't even matter, man. I gave him enough light and enough energy. Right? And this radiology is very phenomenal. The radiology is really opening people's eyes up on who they are, because many of teacher inspirers and leaders alike came to the New World of North America, and they told you to know thyself, know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. And how do you know thyself? You have to look at the physical dimensions of who you are. This is how, this is how you address the hidden aspects of yourself by first addressing the visible aspects of yourself. And this is something I was able to integrate into my studies that are based on the foundations of Nuwabu, which is sound right reasoning. That is the science of nine ether beings, right? If it's sound right and it's in the range of reasoning, then I'm going to ask questions first before I accept it as truth or reality, or if I cannot find the facts attached to that person, place, or thing, right? This is our science. You know, that's why that's how come a whole bunch of young little black boys or black girls don't just jump in the vans with strangers. We don't just talk to strangers and shit like that. We use our reasoning and shit. You know, shouts out to Mike Epps. I was watching one of his comedy. I don't know if I was there or anyway, I seen Mike Epps one time and he was like, he was like, boy, you ain't even got to tell a nigga something going wrong. You could just start running in the wrong direction, in another direction, and everybody gonna just start running. They ain't even gonna ask you what's going on. They just gonna see that that's the move. And you know, that's how we are a lot of times. Like shit, I'm up out of here. I ain't trying to wait and figure out what's going on. And I see people going in a direction and they running frantically and shit. And just monkey see, monkey do on that in that end. Like we getting up out of here. We gone. Right? So, you know, we operate with sound right reasoning. And someone has taken us out of our range of reasoning. People don't even reason no more. You know, like I was telling the sister, back to you. I'm gonna get back on you because you in the school, you follow me on TikTok, and I don't know what you were trying to prove, put that in the comment section, but I've uploaded a video when I seen that long ass tangent. I ain't even trying to read all that shit. You know what I mean? But again, sister, my intention was not to trigger you, or that was not my intention to offend you, right? But I said what I said in regards to those two women, right? Here in the Western world, because they're not even women. I'm just keeping it 10K with you, man. Come on. I'd have had the mama of mamas. And for you to say that I'm not in tune with the X chromosome and all that, man, get out of here with that, man. Don't try to match with me. You are not on my level in those regards. You just not. You hear me? But if you do have a question, you can ask a question. I leave myself open to be questioned all the time. Ask the question and get some clarity. Don't assume. I just got through saying that on the last live. And a lot of these people, you know, I let them come into the school. You know, I even let a couple of people come into the tech space without having a piece of tech. You think that made them and encouraged them to buy some tech? Hell no. They was like, shit, I'm in here now. I don't need the tech. Your brain's so cooked, it's crazy. Right? It is. But that's neither here nor there. You know, people always looking for a shortcut, and people always assume that everyone else is thinking how their ass is thinking. And that's just not the case. Because as I aforementioned in the TikTok, man, we got over 200 people in our community. 40 of those people are my students, my personal students I keep a rapport with. You hear me? Over 35% of those people have actually seen me in person. They done got to have dinner with me. Some of them have been at my house. They've transcended just watching me on the other end of this YouTube or on the other end of Instagram. Just because you haven't doesn't mean that everybody should be held to the same standard as your monkey ass. You the one on the outside looking in and don't even know it. But this is our community. This is not no cosplay online bullshit. That's why we have events, so people can come out and see me in real time. You can assess me in real time. And you can cheers a drink with me in real time. And we can pray over our meal together in real time. Right? This time we're going to get together and ground and project at the sun. We're going to do all that shit together. You're going to get a chance to meditate with me and all that. Right? We're going beyond the superficial lengths that online social media networks has comprised from people being online. Now it was all hands off and everybody got to look at you through a damn glass like it's a prison or some shit. No, you got to see me in real time. I want to see you in real time. especially while I'm on my mediocre rise. Because as I start to get more followers and more people start to become aware of radiology in the 1089 tech community, it'll get overwhelming. And then I'm going to have to really be hands off. So I'm giving people that opportunity to beseech me in real time. But when things get to a level where y'all be saying, "Oh man, he acting funny. He said that he eat dinner with you. He do this with you." Yeah, I do all that shit while it's not that big. But as this shit get bigger, I ain't gonna be able to have time to do that, right? And you're gonna miss that window of opportunity to get to know me on an intimate level, you know. But most of these people that have these particular judgments or assessments of who I am and haven't met me in person, you kind of look silly. You don't even know who you're talking to. You don't even know my background story. You haven't even watched enough videos to assume to know what I'm talking about. You know, and it always shows because the first thing that people will do is put words in my mouth and say what I said instead of just asking a question and let me respond. And that way you don't have to assume what I said and you don't have to misquote me, right? You don't have to do that. You're doing yourself a disservice when you do that. You know, I had to check another young brother that was in my private message trying to tell me, you know, "What's up, homie? You know me." I'm like, "I don't know you." Yeah, I've been following your platform. Just because you follow my platform don't mean I know you. "I want to come to your event." I said, "No, you don't." I do want to come to your event." Your ass ain't even go to the website. "Oh, what's the website?" Are you fucking kidding me? Get the fuck out of here. Don't nobody got time for that. Right? Don't nobody got time for that mess, man. We really don't. We out here trying to wake up the lion in people. We out here trying to wake up the falcon in people, the phoenix bird in you. We here to wake all that shit up. And the first, and you want to get on some old damn howdy doody ass shit. I'm here for the people that want to put on a crown, not the clowns. We raising crowns, not clowns. And because you don't take yourself serious, that don't mean you ain't gonna take me serious. I'm gonna make you take me serious because I take myself serious. And if you can't take the fuck out my kitchen, you hear me? That's what it is. Yeah, exactly, man. The website everywhere. It's like, yo, why would you even say that dumb shit? Like, is you trolling me? No, I'm serious. I'm serious, big homie. Where is it? People's brains, man. I'm telling you. And they'll do that on a video that I uploaded. And I know you see it, Shamari. My videos, I put the website on my videos. And people will still be like, "Yo, what's the website?" I'm like, "Yo, it's right there on the screen." And they still miss that. And this is what I'm talking about in regards to the cell phone having an effect on the brain. How the brain matter is cooking, the gray matter in the brain is being cooked. They're not processing things correctly. And just because your ego is telling you, "No, man, you doing everything right." You listening to your mind. You ain't even listening to yourself. Your mind is getting in the way of you listening to yourself and being receptive to the things that other people say. But when you're dealing with other people, they got all these holes in their auric field and they're not processing information correctly, you're not going to seem like you off until you get in the capacity, the company, or the range of someone that's not distorted at that level, you know. Because I could put my phones down. I lost one of my phones. That shit been lost all day. The phone that I'm on right now, I had lost this phone. I'm like, damn, where the phone at? Because I don't, if I'm not on it, I'm getting away from that shit. These are mini microwaves. That's what your phone is. It's a microwave. What'd you say there? See, the sad part is them really. Yeah, man. Like I said, they listening to that mind. You're listening to the mind, and I'm not here to get on their ass, but it's just like, yo, I got to get on your ass. Because I've been telling people time after time, hey, get the tech, get the tech. Now you're getting to the point to where it's in 6G. The Wi-Fi running on 6G right now. The next rollout is going to be 7G or 8G, and they're going to have a disease to go along with it. And they're going to see how much of your gray matter in your brain has been cooked. And they're going to tell you, hey, man, you need to do this or you can't work. If you don't get the jab, then guess what? We got to close your bank accounts. And people going to go and get the jab, and then their ass going to be gone. And now all your money in your bank account has been absorbed. I'm telling you how these beings get down. And I'm not making a prediction. I'm just telling you the pattern. It went from SARS to the swine flu, from swine flu to Ebola, from Ebola to the coronavirus, from the coronavirus to whatever the fuck is next after that. And every time they let one out, they roll out a whole new Wi-Fi. The algorithm, the pattern is there. That's not me predicting the future. That's me showing you the pattern. And they tested people this last time to see how strong the 4G had, how much of an effect it had on those people's brain. And I'm telling you, 90% of the people that I know that passed away from that shit, they believed in Jesus. And I'm not saying that Jesus is the reason, but that was the that was the marker to see what you're capable of processing. When these devils came up to you on the news and lied to you, Anthony Fauci, the person that bought AIDS over here and spread that shit. You know what I mean? He the real Dr. Kevorkian. Shouts out to Dr. Kevorkian. May the ancestors be with him. Right? But that's the real fucking Dr. Death right there. And he not even a damn doctor. He not even a scientist. Shouts out to Dr. Shiva Ayadari, who exposed Andy Fauci. Way before they did the coronavirus, he was on his ass. See, y'all ain't up on Dr. Shiva Ayadari, some of you. But check him out. He on the YouTube. I follow him too. You can look through my followers and see like, oh, damn, you do follow this dude. You know, he the senator for, I want to say Massachusetts. He's a graduate at MIT, graduated from MIT when he was 14, right? Hindu brother. You talking about these fake ass viruses they putting out there. And y'all just going along with it without asking any questions. This is why I'm attempting to program people into asking questions. Question every goddamn thing. Just don't do something just because somebody tell you to do it. You better question these fuckers. Stop letting them get away with just telling you anything. No, you question that shit. If you don't, then you won't. You're going to just end up going for what they sell you. You know, and that's the truth of the matter. Rather, you can accept that or not. But somebody got to say it. I'm not going to sit up here and play fucking ice wall games with you. Talk about the earth is flat. And telling you about the ice agents and all that shit. All that stuff those are all distractions. So that you can't see what the malefic one is doing to you. And doing to your children. And your neighbors, and your environment, and your community. They don't want you to see. They don't want you to think. They just did a research at MIT. I shared it on my Instagram. They said in 3 years, people will lose the ability to think for themselves. They use that chat GPT in a way to where they're not thinking for themselves. And my father pointed that out 4 or 5 years ago. He was like, yo, man, most people in America are lazy thinkers. We seek out conveniency. And then on top of having the conveniency, we want leniency on top of the conveniency that we asking for. It's like, damn, what you exist for? Right? Straight up and down. It's like grown-ass children. Hey, you got $20? Yeah, I do. Can I have it? You gonna pay it back? I can't pay it back. Well, here go $20. Can I have a ride? Damn, where you trying to go? Way across town. Damn, you got some gas money? No, I just asked you for $20. You take them over there. Hey, can you come pick me up too? Like, god damn, what I gotta need to live your life for you? Incompetency. I remember back in my day, you wanted to go somewhere, you got your ass on the public bus. Nowadays, the children think you got to take them everywhere that they want to go. And they don't even appreciate it. And you can tell that because when you ask them to do something, they get attitude. Talk about the children in my house. And their brains is thrown the fuck off because of that cell phone. And I don't know who bright idea was to put cell phones in the hands of children. It's not. Their brain is still developing. Even when they 15 and 16 years old, your brain don't stop developing until it's 25. And if you look at the manuscript, the handwriting of a lot of these children, it looked like a second grader. And I'm talking about high school students. Their writing is horrible. Their reading is even worse. They can't write or read. All they do is memorize curriculum. That's not learning. Memorizing curriculum is not learning because you're memorizing a curriculum that's programming you to be conformative. It's not elevating your psychic center. It's not expanding your awareness or your comprehension levels. It's engineered to make you be a studious, conformative worker and not to ask questions. Right? And far too often, we think that once we graduate from high school, that you had enough learning. We think because we graduate from college that we've had enough learning. We don't need to learn anything else. And what I went to school to learn, that was enough for me to learn. That's a program. You're not even telling you the truth. Did you know America is number 46 on the educational scale? Within the educational systems of the planet, we rank number 46 as far as intellect of students that are the byproduct of the knowledge that they receive. Number 46. It's other countries that don't even have half of the amenities that we have that outrank you. Somebody got to say it. Yes, please do. Ask your question, beloved. Ask your question. Somebody called me Diddy. Come on, man. Come in here serious. Don't mock me. I hate it for the trolls here on the YouTube side. For real, man. I do. Why would you take permission first? I don't understand your question. He said, this is Taylor. YouTube was from high school. I don't understand your question. Yeah, I don't understand your question. Maybe you're just trolling. We got a couple of trolls in there. And that's fine. I see everything on a delay because I got my phone turned around the other way so that I can see the board. Yeah, but I don't, I do allow questions though. He's saying this is Taylor. Oh, okay, I see now, Taylor. She said, and I was just saying like my username is from high school when I was in high school. Okay, that's okay. You can ask your question though, Taylor. Shouts out to Taylor. How you doing, Taylor? That's Taylor in the 1089, right? You know, now y'all can kind of see why I have the vetting process that that I do have. But I know who Taylor is. You know, for the people that'll see this in replay, I know everybody in the community. I talk to everybody in the community. No, I didn't see a question. It just said something. All I seen you say is, "Am I able to ask questions here?" That was what came through. Am I able to ask questions here? Someone said, Why would you take permission first?" And they said, "This is Taylor." Or you said, "This is Taylor." And I was just saying, like, my username is from high school. Then you said, "Did not come through." Yeah, so whatever your question was, ask your question again, beloved, because it didn't come through. The question didn't come through, but that's all good. We're still here taking them. You know, it just it has a lag. It ain't that it has a lag. It's just that I'm looking on my laptop to see the questions because I got my camera turned the opposite way. Right. But if you do have a question, you can ask it. Yeah. Shouts out to Taylor. Yeah, but for all y'all people that's in the school that's not in the 1089 tech community, y'all need to join the community or come out to the events or something. Don't leave yourself in an ambiguous zone because you're around people that are an actual interaction. They have interacted with me. I got their number, they got my number. We didn't develop a rapport over the phone, or you didn't develop the rapport with me in person and or through the community. If you just waiting for me to come on YouTube or TikTok all the damn time and you haven't followed the vetting process to get a consultation with me, you the odd person out. You might think that, oh man, everybody else just like me. No, they not. when y'all come into my lives, even on here on YouTube, these people know me, or they spoken to me, or they actually know me. We in the poverty paradigm. We're not going through speculation and belief no more, right? We on real time in this great day and time. See, are Sims only in the form of numbers, or can they also be items? Yes, of course. That's an excellent question. Sims can show up in amalgamation of ways. Say, like with my mother. I just thought about my mother when you said that. I said, "Mama, give me a sign right quick." And everything in my comment section that turned purple, purple was my mother's color. I know that was my mama. Like, before I even seen you type the question, that's a sim. That don't have nothing to do with the numbers or nothing. That's the color. Earlier when we was talking about color, the color purple, I thought about my mother. When they redid the color purple, I thought about my mother because I know that that's her color, right? That's a sim. When I see Smokey Robinson, my mama loves some Smokey Robinson. I know that's my mama reaching out to me, right? She loved Maze and Frankie Beverly. I'll be in the grocery store getting candles for my altar, and all of a sudden that shit come on. And I know my mama letting me know, like, yo, go check out the steak department and go get me a steak. And I go over there and they have a steak. And all the time, sometimes I can't help it. I get overwhelmed. I'll start crying. And I'll see a woman in the store that looked like my mother, pushing the buggy like her and everything. Like, those are Sims that don't have nothing to do with numbers. You hear me? So it is quite possible. Yeah, that's what you do though, Taylor. When you're not sure, you ask your questions. And that's what you did. But yeah, there's amalgamation of ways for you to receive those Sims. Especially if it's in association with someone that has passed over. But Sims show up in a multitude of ways. And you're more than capable of being aware of them. This is strengthening your intuitive promptings and responding in first mind capacity, in the first person. Right? Yeah. Yeah, don't fret though. You want it. Things take time. Increments at a time, beloved. You know. Yeah, we love them Sims. Them Sims be popping up. Some people get a little bit too carried away with the Sims, and that's fine too. That's how it is when you first start to learn something new that you were not aware of. It can be very fascinating, exhilarating, and fuel the enthusiasm within it sometimes. Um, but in this great day and time called New Tyree, this takes us beyond the range of speculation or guessing. This puts us in a gnosis where you know that you're not tripping. You know that you're not bugging out. You're like, oh man, I know I ain't tripping. Most mornings, my father would call me at 7:06, right? 7:06 in in Atlanta time. And it'll be 6:06 my time. And that's the day his mother was born. Sometimes I get up, I get prompted from the tech community, and the time will be 5:27. That's my granddaddy's birthday. And I just had woke up. Like, oh man, I hear my phone go off and I grab it, and it'd be somebody saying Grand Rising at that same exact time. He said, you gave me a sim for my pops. I asked for that. Brought so much joy. Yeah, man. When they see that you paying attention and that you aware, oh man, it's almost like they checking in on you and affirming that they there. That shit is so reassuring. And it makes you want to dedicate more time and deposit more energy into them. I'm not telling people to connect with the Netaru. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be connecting with the Netaru, but they shouldn't have a priority over those we owe a debt of gratitude to, right? Especially if we experience those beings in real time. It's nothing like a kiss from my mama Floyd. She kissed me the other day in my dream, and I turned into a damn, I turned into a 6-year-old boy again. And she'd kiss the shit out of you and be like, good gracious of life. Oh, Mama Floyd, I love you, baby. Right? Not a day go by that I don't venerate them. My Mama Floyd, Granddaddy RZ, Grandma Juanita. My grandmothers and my grandfather born on they all Geminis, except one of my grandfathers, he's a Capricorn, but all the rest of them is Geminis. So I got a lot of air genealogy in my genealogy chart, right? As far as the characteristics or traits that I have access to. So I can pick up on transmissions out the air quite fluently due to the traits in my chromosomes that they left me in custodial hand. They left in my custodial hands. So this shit is for real, man. And I'd be doing people a disservice if I didn't tell them to connect to something that's quite practical and applicable for you to generate a rapport with. I'm not going to tell you to just dial into Tahuti or dial into, Sekhmet or Haru. I'll be doing you a disservice. And they would feel like they're stepping in the way of your elders when they're the ones that laid the foundation for you. And once you start working with those particular deities consistently, when you start working with your progenitors consistently, they're going to dutifully note that. And they'll start assisting you and them. But you have to be dedicated and devoted on the path of Korshania. That's what Korshania means, is the dedication and the devotion to our dearly departed. And that's just not something that you just pick up on. You have to, you have to reach that station in your life to where it's applicable for you to have an altar in your home so that you can have a space to venerate, a space to prayer, a space to have your solace, to do your rituals or go over your affirmations. You want to designate a spot in your home for that. And a lot of people say, oh man, I want one can I put it in my closet? That means you got too much shame. If you can't put it out in the middle of your home, don't even do that shit. I know I be telling people like, yeah, you can put it in your closet. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. You're not going to be compelled to go to your altar if you got to always run into a closet. Right? If you're saying that you don't have space for it, then it's something in your home that might need to be removed so that you can have that there. There's levels to this. And I tell my students, to prioritize your dearly departed every AM. That sets the tone for your sense of gratitude. They like the cherry on top for your sense of appreciation for awakening that day. You got yourself, your dearly departed, the sun, and the planet, and the elements. After that, now you can focus solely on your occupation or whatever task you had to handle that day. You can get right on it and don't have nothing else on your consciousness. Don't be thinking about what you're going to do later and I can't wait to get off of work. If you're one of those type of people and you're having that type of inner dialogue with yourself, I always implore for people to wake up a few hours early before the time that you usually get prepared for work and enjoy your a.m. or your morning time. You want to take that time and enjoy that time. Don't let your occupation siphon your life from you. Because you're going to end up in 2 or 3 hours of traffic. You're going to get home. You're going to be tired. You're going to be frustrated. When you could change the dynamics of that just by getting up a few hours prior to when you usually get up, and start doing the things in the AM that you was doing when you get off of work. Watch how fast your workday go by. Watch how seamlessly you start moving through the traffic after you get off of work. Or if you catch a bus or a train, watch how synchronistic these things start falling into alignment for you. Because you're prioritizing your existence. And you're prioritizing your intentions. When you do that, everything has to fall into alignment with you. You don't have to fall in alignment with other things. You got to fall in alignment with you. That's just how it go, man. Y'all got any other questions? Any questions? We got a lot of videos to upload. I'm getting tired already. I ain't gonna want to say already, but I've been in consultation today. We had a very powerful live on the TikTok, and you know, a lot of women do get triggered when I start talking about the things that I do talk about. But somebody got to say it, because regardless of how it's making you feel, you got to keep in mind, I got a daughter too. You know, my daughter, 22 years old, she a tall glass of water, right? And I got 2 sons, and they can't keep the women off of them. You dig? So these are things that I tell my own children. You know, my daughter in the honor society, I'd say that with pride. You know, she is. She about her business. She got a job and everything, and you know, she's highly respectable. She's 22 years old. You know, she go out. She have a little boyfriend. Sometimes she spend a night over his house and all that stuff. That's her business. I don't even get all involved in it. He's good. You know, he's cordial with her. He's cordial with me. He's respectable. That's her business. And she called me too. Hey, Daddy, I'm going to be spending the night out tonight. I'll be home at this time. Can you take me to work? No problem. Very respectable. I raised my children to be very respectable. They know how to self-govern themselves and everything. And a lot of the stuff that I share with the people on these social media network sites, these are things that I tell my children. And don't get mad at me because your people didn't tell you that shit. That ain't their fault, because the shit worked for them. But I had to tell these young sisters the things that I tell them, and I got to tell the young brothers the things that I tell them. Because I got at least 5 or 6 nephews. They all have families. They don't got children scattered all over the place. They got their children with the same woman. All of them. They raise their children. Their children see them growing up. I want to say one of my nephews had a divorce, but he had about 4 kids. They got like 4 or 5 kids. He's active in their life. It ain't like he's an abandoned father or something. Shit just didn't work out between him and the mother. And they were together for a long ass time. It ain't like they were just together 3 or 4 years or some shit. But they take their social cues from me. I set the example. Somebody has to set the example and be the responsible adult. And far too often, people make poor decisions. And you want to give your grievances about your poor decisions to the world across social media. That's just not good. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be going on social media telling them about your mishaps. The trolls gonna be all over your ass, right? They just is. But you don't. He said, "Taste so is you." I don't know what that means. I'm not certain what that means, beloved. You're gonna have to bring some clarity. He said, "Taste so is you." I don't know what that is. I'm gonna extend some grace for that. He said, "Yeah, it's a prank, bro. You know, don't come in. Why you want to say that?" Said you Mike Tyson. I'm not Mike Tyson. Shouts out to Mike Tyson though. Said it's a prank. Like y'all, I'm telling y'all better start taking yourself a little bit more serious. I don't know if you a child. This is not for children. I do put that on my YouTube. So I know you can't be a child. But you know, stop thinking everything gotta be a prank, everything gotta be a joke, and everything. Come on, grow up. You ain't got no real question. Like, come on, man. You serious right now? No, you're not. I'm telling you, you're gonna blink and you're gonna be 21, and you're gonna blink again and you're gonna be 35, then you're gonna blink again and you're gonna be 45. And all you have to look back on is how much time you've been pranking and fooling, and that shit that shit catch up to you. You know. You have to master your mind. Don't allow your mind to master you. And say, hey, this will be funny. It's only two people in here. Let me just go ahead and tell him whatever. And that might work sometimes, but that ain't gonna work all the time. You can come like I said earlier, I feel sorry for the trolls. I'm not the one to mock. I can't control the way that my spiritual agency responds to the way that people decide to disrespect me or attempt to mock me. I had nothing to do with that. I'm here to impact the planet in a positive way. That's my modus operandi, is to have a positive impact on myself, on my family, on the community, the 1089 tech community, for my students in the AAA Academy and the alumni, for my immediate environment, my subdivision, my city, my county, and the world over, right? Say, is Anubu the one with the 4 sons of Haru? Is Anubu the one with the 4? No, it's Haru. Haru has the 4 sons. Haru has the 4 sons. That's Kebasinu, Happy, Duamutep, and Mseti. Yeah, you can find that playlist on the TikTok. To tell you the truth, Shamari, which I always am, it's the playlist on TikTok. I keep telling everybody that. If you want to really fast track your way through the database and connect all the dots, you got to watch the stuff in the playlist. Shouts out to Dejan Smith. Dejan, man, he went through about 40 chapters of playlists. Him and Mel. Shouts out to Mel. They both go through they didn't went through about 40 playlists, 40 chapters. That's over 800 videos. They done watched over 800 videos. They got the answers to most of the questions. They got the answers to most of the things that people ask questions about. And they on point with what they doing. Like, nah, man, shit, I got enough to apply myself. I'm applying myself and boom, 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 boom. So that's and I tell everybody that, like, yo, just go watch the videos. 90% of the questions that you will end up having, I already answered it in the videos, because that's what I do is I chop up the highlights. The highlights is based on the questions. One of the first things I upload. I go right to the questions that people ask, and I upload the answers. And I write the question in the caption. And it'll take you a minute to figure that out. But once you do, you're going to be like, oh, shit, here go all the answers right here. And you will just keep going through them. You will keep going through them. Start taking notes. Always take notes. You know. There's some people that come to the seminar, and I'm sure they'll show up in Atlanta. That's when most of the tech community show up, is when we in Atlanta. But when we do Atlanta, and that's so peculiar because outside of Shamari and Spazzo, everybody else don't even stay in Georgia. And we always got 18 to 20 people there that then flew in from somewhere else. Everybody that flew in from somewhere else, and they're there taking notes and everything. But when you see everybody notes at the next event, be like, hey, let me see your notes. And look at the notes that people be taking. That'll help you out tremendously as well. You can start, bouncing some of that stuff off of them. And they'll tell you, be like, damn, yeah, I need to be taking notes. Especially with Grandmaster Melly Mel. I got to reach out to Melly Mel. Melly Mel be on her note. She be taking her fucking notes, man. She don't miss a beat. Same thing with Mama Drina. Mama Drina don't be playing. These are elder statesmen. So they know exactly, they not playing. They don't be missing a beat. Mama Drina, Mel, who else? I want to say Dejan, and there was one more other person. They're the only people that, Yolanda Jester. Shouts out to Lundy. Right? Them the only people that turned in all 99 of the Netaru. They've been tapped into it, but shit, I want to say Lundy and Mama Drina, they turned that in before you even showed up in the community, Shamari. Before I even met you at one of those events, they had already did that. But these are things that will definitely help you out in those regards, is going through that playlist. Watch all of the playlists, especially the ones that's based on the scrolls, where I curate the scrolls from Dr. Malakaza Duck York L. I curated those certain sections in those scrolls and put relevant and tied it to the relevant timeline of posts and newspaper articles and pictures that is associated with a lot of the points in certain scrolls. And go through that stuff, man. All it's going to do is enhance what you're already doing. And it'll start filling in more gaps in the proverbial jigsaw puzzle that is radiology. You'll just start seeing just so much more. It's like, oh my God. And I say that from experience. I go through the playlist myself. I let the playlist roll and be hitting my sets and doing my push-ups and hitting my dumbbells and doing my yoga, watching my own videos, right? Refining myself off of my own information, my own information that I'm putting out there, But you will get on that. You got the 4 Cools of Islam, and you got the 4 Gospels of Christ. And all of that came from the 4 sons of Haru, right? But check that out, and all of that stuff is right there. It's right in the playlist. I don't know where everybody at tonight. I mean, we did have a long ass live. I can't see everybody that's in the room. Maybe I should turn this around, huh? See if my live started from the beginning. Catch it on the replay. Okay, you got access to the replay on the TikTok? I didn't know they gave you. I see you be reposting the videos too. Shouts out to you for that, Shamari. Shamari be on it, man. I like the initiative that you take, you know, and how honed in, and you're getting better, man. You're getting better. You're getting better. You right on par. He said the live started over. Oh man. I think, did I answer your question? Do I need to answer your question again? About the four, you said about as a Nubu or as a Haru. You know, Anubu did he have children? No, Anubu don't have no children. That's Haru. And I don't know if you caught me when I said it. But go to the playlist on TikTok. That's the key to locking everything in. And I was saying that there was a few people that went through at least 800 videos, and they on point. That's what's gonna get you there. That's what gets you to asking the right questions too, and then locking in and applying the things. Oh, you see, called it on Haru's sons. Yeah. I would say that it's called the hidden truths about Egypt or something like that. That's the name of the playlist. The one where I got Moses and Egypt and the pharaohs and all that. Look in that playlist. Anything dealing with the Neteru or any questions, go through those videos. There's only about 6 or 7 of them in that playlist, but it's very pertinent. I got Taweret, Sekhmet, Tahuti. Let me take it back. It might be about 11 videos in there, but they're well curated, and that'll be your go-to for that. You start going through the playlist, you will find certain ones, and you'll be like, damn, it's a lot of gems in this. And I tell people all the time to go through the TikTok playlist. I'm on chapter 64 of the highlights from the lives, right? Chapter 64 is where we at now. We on chapter 64. And most of those chapters got over 20 videos in them. And all I did was click the questions and the answer, and then I upload it. Any video I re-upload to TikTok is based on a question that somebody asks. And that makes it even more accessible to get the answer to the questions that people might have. They're like, damn, somebody already asked this question. Well, damn, they're going to answer to it. You know, just attempting to make it even more efficient for people. You know, because people want that conveniency. But the leniency that we seek, that's what makes us lazy in our thinking. I was watching a guy asked AI, was it trying to replace him? And he said, what would be your advice to me? He was like, yo, Do your own fucking research. Stop asking me what the fuck is what, and just do your due diligence and look shit up. That's why I be taking my time. You see how meticulous the things is on the school? Now I will use my AI to cross-reference what I be looking up, but I do my own due diligence. My my AI chatbot is waiting for me right now. It just gave me a little prompt and like, yo, man, because I'll be fucking it up. They be like, yo, that's real fascinating. Sometimes they be like, wow. Because I'm not operating from the human aspects of who I am. This operating system is used to dealing with the neural mapping of somebody that thinks like an animal or a human, because a human is an animal, right? And I don't be coming from there. I fucked him up with the plasma. When I broke that plasma down and put that shit, like, nigga, I searched that. He was like, that shit was, the dots was going by. That shit funny to me. You know, it's real funny. But most people think that they think like a human. They think like an animal. You know, some of y'all are over enamored with your gender. Like you gonna have that gender. You know, I ain't never seen a spirit say, hold on, I got a pee-pee. Where the toilet at? A spirit won't say that. We try to anthropomorphize who we are spiritually with who we are physically, and it just don't capitulate over the same way. You know, people want to understand 3 or 4 step 1 and 2 and don't never cover 1 and 2. They like, I don't want to do 1 and 2. I don't want to get down there. That's how it was when people wanted to come to the planet, when they was up there in their omnipresent consciousness as an ocean of consciousness. Said, man, I want to go down there and get a body. They wanted to bypass the etheric realm, bypass the spirit realm, and come right here. When it's a descending digression into the physical density. And once the beings got here, now they want to just go all the way back. Well, it's like, nah, man, it don't work that way. That's why I was so fortunate to have teachers and guidance and instructors and mentors. It's a plethora of people that I've learned from over the course of my life. You know, beyond the curriculum, studied within the doctrine of the Wabu, right? That just took me to a whole nother level. Just to have a teacher that can speak that many languages, it definitely brings a degree of clarity that you didn't think was possible, because we're limited through our ability to communicate with the world. You know, most people don't speak nothing but English. Latin is a dead language. So is Greek. So is Hebrew, right? Or Aramaic. People don't speak these languages no more. But man, he knew them. Same thing with Arabic and the dialects. That stuff open you up to a whole new world. Same thing with Espanol, right? We got to want to know these things and want to know who we are on top of that. And don't just limit ourselves to our own understanding and see what it is that other people understand, right? So at some point in time, the world will catch up. Because they got to come to the new Abia. You know, they got to, whether they want to or not. Shouts out to Rod Hayes. Rod Hayes said that one time. He said, man, if you want to see the people that got the most pieces of the puzzle, you got to check out the Nawapians, period. That's why a lot of these suck-ass niggas on YouTube, they won't say non-ether. They be non-ethering it up on a TikTok. But you go across the so-called conscious community here on YouTube, boy, they is not going to say non-ether. Because then they know they're going to have to say the SGM's name. And they don't want to say the SGM's name. They don't. Because then they had to admit a lot of the other information, they had to cite that source. And many of them don't want to cite that source. Right? They don't. And many of them working with black magic, dark magic. They in the Baphomet. Oh, Lucifer's not bad. He's not evil. Someone told you wrong. You don't listen to that. Baphomet is okay. Show me that shit in the temples of Kaminu. Show that to me in the occult center of Etfu, or in the temple of Etfu. And show it to me in the occult center of Hetkapata. You show me Lucifer, you show me Baphomet, you show me a pentagram, you show me a hexagram. You'll be hard pressed to find those things there. That's some BS. You show me an angel. You hear me? You'll be hard pressed. But you will find a nigga that look like me. You'll find a nigga that look like you. You'll find a sister that look like some of the other sisters is in the thread. You will see that there. Why we can't just deal with that? Everybody else want us to look at what the fuck they think is what, but they don't want to acknowledge what it is that reflects us. And I call that an undermining of my intelligence when you do that. Yeah, I know you got the Kybalion. We don't call it the Kybalion. Right? That's the mental grid. They call it the Kabbalah or the tree of life. And y'all got y'all own little Jewish terms that y'all got for that shit. But why don't you tell me where you got that shit from? They don't want to do that. They want you to forget where they got it from and just listen to them. No, man, get the hell out of here. We're not playing that. Not no more, man. Them days is over with. There's too much sacrifice that's been made. And kidnapped our Supreme Grandmaster Teacher, and you're trying to shroud the efforts that he put out here to liberate the minds of the Nubians in the New World of North America. I'm just a fruit. I'm a byproduct of those fruits. You know, whether you like it or not, I don't even give a damn. I'm not here to appease anyone. I'm here to wake up that lion in you, period. Some people ready for that lion to wake up. Some people ready to lay there and be a fucking victim. You want to be a fucking victim? Hey, that's on you. Ain't got nothing to do with me. You dig? I'm not here to be a victim. Peace and love, beloved. You ain't gonna be no damn victims. I don't sense the divine feminine. That sister said that shit. I don't sense the divine feminine in you. You're too harsh. You should be more compassionate. Like RuPaul. See, they be wanting you to be all extra soft. Like, I can't be what you want me to be. You got to join the community and get to know me. Come into the video meeting room. Purchase a piece of tech. Because the second you purchase the tech, I'm going to get on the horn with you and chop it up with you so I could feel you out and see where you at. But people would rather slander me than speak directly to me. I ain't never been that type of motherfucker. I want to get on the horn with your ass and talk directly to you. I don't want to talk to somebody else about the issue I got with you. I want to talk to you about it. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind like a motherfucker. Good, bad, or indifferent. I try to talk to you and you duck me 3 or 4 times, then I'm gonna start talking to you, the other motherfuckers, just so that shit'll get back to you and you come and fucking address me. I love directness. I love frankness and honesty, even if it should hurt my feelings or something. You know, if as long as it's true, I don't give a fuck. Like, well, damn, I might need to course correct in that direction. I had no issue with that. But again, some of these people, they don't realize, man, a lot of people are in our community. They think just because they ass not in the community, like, ah, man, he ain't got nobody in there. Until they come in there, like, ah, damn, he doing his people in here. You know what I mean? That's on you. Like I said, I'm not here to overconvince nobody. I ain't trying to twist nobody's arm off. I ain't here. But a hit dog gon' holler. The hit dogs is gonna holler. And I'm just gonna say what it is. Period. But these women are wayward. You know, a lot of women squander away their youth. You know, they're picking up on the social cues from whores. I don't care, y'all. Love it or hate it. I don't give a damn. That's where many of the social cues are coming from. You know, and the women you're taking your social cues from, they have depleted their ability to pair bond with anyone. And because of that, they see that you still got some innocence and some hope in your eyes. And they're going to try to sabotage that because misery loves company. And they don't want you to be able to compete for the men that they look to for their degree of hypergamy, right? And they'll monkey branch through those niggas too. Like, man, it's just fucked up. Whatever happened to loyalty? Whatever happened to having some integrity and not looking outside of yourself, outside the range of wise counsel? And I think that's something that's missing from many of the young women today. You know, just coming and trying to get down on the men because we might say something about women that's short-sighted. Because I talk to the young brothers. You know, I tell them the right things to do. You know, I didn't need social media to set a positive example for the younger men in my life. I just walked it out and set the example. But there's no women doing that for the women. It's not. Those that are, they're getting castigated by the whores. Because the women that are not whores, that are taking their social cues from whores, are also taking their cues from the whores on who they need to be. And I don't got nothing against women that sell their body and all that. That's what you want. That's your business. You know what I mean? It is. But don't come across these platforms and damn sure don't come to me if you're not willing to come in to Q&A. Don't leave no comment. Don't throw your rock and hide your hand. I'm quite transparent. I've been on what, TikTok. Now we on YouTube. I go to the tech community. I go on to school. But if you don't come in and open up your mouth and you feel offended by something I said and you don't address it right then and there, hey man, I'm not tripping on it. I'm not trying to, hey, please don't go nowhere. I'm sorry. I'm not about to simp to you. I'm not a simpleton. Fuck you mean? And I ain't trying to holler at you. That's the other part of it. It ain't like I'm trying to holler at you too. That's what be fucking a lot of women up. Like, God damn, this nigga ain't even trying to holler at me. Well, what I supposed to want to holler at you? You want me to blow your back out? That don't mean I'm about to sit and kick it with you and let you take me hostage for the rest of my damn life. But that's not my intention. You're being prejudiced, right? Because you think that I should be Derek Jackson. I told you motherfuckers before, I'm not Derek Jackson. I'm closer to Joe Jackson. I'm more Joe Jackson than Derek Jackson. You Yeah, you go get with them goofy ass niggas. Let them lie to your ass and tell you that you're a goddess. You's a fucking human. You're not a goddess. If you got to get in the car to travel from A to B, you're not a god or a goddess. You hear me? If you can't project the palace out in front of you, you're not a god. You're going to have to do some shit like that to convince me that you a god or a goddess. And those terminologies are still European terminologies. If all you understand or understand is English, don't tell me that you a god or a goddess. You still being mentally enslaved. You're going to have to step your game up. You're going to have to take this shit to another level, man. You can convince somebody that might want to smell your ass, but what about the brother that ain't interested in smelling your ass? What about the brother that stepped to you like he from St. Louis? I'm from the show, and I'm not even from there. I got family from there, but I'm not from there. But you got to show me. Talk is cheap. Not in case it's paid for in a consultation. But other than that, you did? He said Jesus is king. If Jesus was king, why is you saying it? How come Jesus can't speak for a king? Don't need a jester to speak for him. Now, do you got a question, Jeremiah? Says your third eye not open. Do you got a question? Talking about my third eye not open. But you said Jesus is king. Nigga, your third eye ain't open. I knew that the second you said Jesus is king. I wasn't even interested in nothing else you had to say. And I hope you're not a melanated person. If you is, you a sucker ass nigga. How about that? You ain't ready for that. You bowing to a dead man on a cross. My God didn't die on no cross. A person that has to worship somebody that died on the cross and got killed by his own creation, that person's third. He said you a fake Brother Panic. I'm not Brother Panic. I don't represent nothing Brother Panic stand for. Sit your stupid ass down. Said Jesus never died. Jesus never existed. How about that? You got proof that he actually existed? Can you prove that? I bet you can't. You said anything about occult knowledge. You come in here assuming. You know what they say about people that assume? You make an ass of yourself. You should have came in here asking questions. The Holy Spirit is away. Real though. No, you gotta, hey man, prove to me, you can't even prove one person in the Bible actually existed. You can't even prove that. You can't show me a gravesite, a tombstone, any bones, or any carbon dated records of anyone within the scriptural institution. No one. That's across the full monotheistic religions. Outside of the Prophet Mustafa El-Amin Muhammad, whose body they have kept hidden inside the basement of the Vatican. He said Jesus is very real. He said that shit like Jesus took him to Chick-fil-A this morning. Well, shit, he can't take him to Chick-fil-A on Sundays because it's closed. You said that like Jesus took you to Chick-fil-A yesterday. I said, yeah, dog. What you want? I'm the king. You know I'm the king, right? Yeah, what you want? Yeah. Hey, how you doing today, Cindy? Let me get a number 7 with a lemonade. And let me get an extra tater tot too. Yeah, that's for Jeremiah. His third eye's open. He know that I'm the king. No, I'm not paying cash or credit. I'm the king. I'm Jesus. I'm the son of God. I ain't got to do none of that shit. That's how this nigga talking about God. Like he had a real life. Come on, man. You asking me, Jesus ain't, that concept ain't nothing but Santa Claus. He said, just because your uncle touched you and God didn't stop it, doesn't. My uncle never touched me. Now you're trying to make an insult and you're trying to defend an egregor that you're incapable of proving actually existed. I'll give you one more chance to ask the real question. Said it was your brother. No, my brother never touched me like that. You guesstimating. You're speculating. Just like you speculating about your God. You said, who touched you? Ain't nobody touched me. You trolling, man. You trolling. Your name start with a J. That in itself show me how fake you is. Because the letter J didn't get instituted into the English language until the 1600s. So you already on a blocked vibration. Said Jesus need to touch your heart. Yeah, let him touch your heart. You go now you want to switch it up. Yeshua. Yeah, come on, man. Get out of here, man. Get on up out of here. Your grandmama brought you in here. I'm not, the debates is over, man. I'm done with debates. I'm not here to debate you. You want to believe that shit? That's on you, man. I hope that shit working for you. I'm glad that it got you off the drugs and it got you out the street. I'm happy for you, brother. Genuinely, I am. But don't come in here trying to impress your unprovable ideologies on me. The Hebrew Israelites would have a field day with you. No, man, no, they wouldn't. Them niggas don't even speak Hebrew. They don't even speak Hebrew. They don't speak Aramaic. There's nothing that they can do with me. They speak English, and so do you. You keep talking about somebody else, but you ain't talking about yourself. That's the mark of a sucker ass nigga. No, I don't think I'm a god. I don't think I'm a god. I don't use that terminology. No, I'm not a Freemason. You're doing too much guessing and speculating. Yeah, let me just go ahead and. That's good. Like I said, it's good you got Jesus, man. I'm happy for you. Yeah, we removed. How do I block this nigga? Hey, get him on out of here. Yeah. Yeah, bye-bye. Show goofy ass out of here. Yeah, he can talk to himself now. Now you can talk to yourself. Right? That's all good with me. You can talk with yourself. Not going back and forth with these religious idiots. You know. They be butthurt. They come in here, they see the little backdrop. They see how clean and crispy I look. I got my own apparel on. I got the tech around my neck that I designed myself. That shit trigger people that don't know who they are. Them the people that be confused. They be real confused. They be butthurt. Like, oh, man. They see the confidence and the savoir-faire that I carry, and that shit just trigger every demon inside of them. I ain't got nothing to do with that. And I don't have no filter. And I'm the same way online, offline. I don't take you serious. You can't show your face. I'm not going to take you serious. You don't come in here showing no couth and no etiquette. I don't take you serious because you don't take yourself serious. So why am I going to take you serious? right? Make that shit make sense. You can't. But the debate's been over. I'm debating cats a long ass time ago. Over 25 years now, I didn't stop debating. Like, man, I'm not debating you. You don't even know how to matter. They're going to say your third eye ain't open. But before he said that, he said Jesus is king. Yeah, right there, you just showed me your third eye ain't open. I don't even call it the third eye, it's the first eye. And I stopped using that terminology. I say the mind's eye. And I could tell you where the mind's eye come out of. See, I could have went back and forth with his goofy ass and just smacked him up, but just him saying Jesus is king was more than enough for me. Let me give your ass some satire. And he couldn't even handle the satire. He had to start. He was raped. That's why he was touched. That's why, like, come on, man, get your little young ass out of here. You know what I mean? People be fucked up. And now that I think about the question and the castigation he just put towards me, maybe his ass got touched. And maybe his brother was playing with his booty hole. You know what I mean? He said, go watch Percy Jackson, fam. Yeah, I was thinking about watching that. I might work on that. I might watch it while I'm working on a few things tonight. I might. I watched the Wonder Man. Yeah, hell yeah. That dude projected this shit, man. He's straight projecting. And people tend to do that, man. I want y'all to check out the comment of that sister, man, on my last live. She left this long ass. I'm like, yo. Shouts out to Jocelyn. It's question and answer, beloved. Question and answer. We cover everything under, over, and within the sun, over, under, and within the planet, over and under and within the human vessel, everything on world and off world. We deal with a lot of things that belong to the Orion Nebula, which is one of the galactical plasmatic cosmic arms that make up your Milky Way. We could cover everything in the Milky Way too. Let's go. There is no set topic. You know, everything that I do is pretty much, it's impromptu. Nothing is staged here. It all takes place in real time. Some people they find that hard to believe, but it is what it is. Thank you for coming by. Do you believe humans or a being more advanced built the pyramids? Yeah, the pyramid was built by Tahuti. Tahuti is an interdimensional being that comes from the fifth dimension, and he originated out the core of our galaxy. This is one of the beings that came here after the landmass was brought out of the water, right? That goes back some 94, 93 billion years ago, right? When somewhere in between that time, between 94, 93 billion years ago, your planet was all water, right? Not until the landmass was brought out of the water and it began to protrude out the water more did they start placing pyramids on the ley line so that more water could be de-densified or turned into a gas to generate what you call clouds so that you can have gravity here, right? So the beings that built the pyramids, there was a multitude of beings. a multitude of ascended masters that incarnated into your sun and then projected down to your planet, you know, vis-a-vis through, you know, the mortals or the inhabitants on your planet. I just got through talking about the pyramid, the Saqqara pyramids, that's right adjacent to the Giza pyramids, which was conducted from Orion, what they call an Orion or the belt of Orion. Those beings that is descended down from there, right? Primarily was Tahuti, right? Because that's the capital center of your of your galaxy, is what they're calling Orion, which is called Sahu. But the last being to incarnate here, and there's no coincidence, I got him on my shirt. That's Imhotep. And Imhotep built those 3 pyramids in one sitting, meaning in one lifetime. He built those 3-step pyramids, which they don't like to talk about because then they're going to have to bring up Imhotep, and they wasn't able to turn them no lighter than this, right? But the person that set the precedence for those pyramids was Tahuti, and he's not the only one. Zoser, he also assisted in the building of the pyramids. Over the course of time, many of pharaohs were commissioned to refurbish the pyramids. And also, there's a place called Sudan Monroe where there are more pyramids in Sudan Monroe than there is, or Monroe, Sudan, than there is on any other place on the planet. Then they don't even show you the pyramids that's found in Nubia either, because the colonizers or the Caucasians or the pale lepers were not granted access into these areas. I hope that answers your question. Other one says, I saw that Slider speaking on one world and off world gratitude for the reference. I'm going to run that back tonight. Yeah, that Sliders is yeah, it ain't no joke. I think that's my brother calling me from the beam. I know it is. No, it ain't. It's Rico. That's Rico. I thought that was bro. Oh, his name is Joe Carl. I'm sorry, Joel. I called you Jocelyn. I couldn't see. He said, how can I connect with my higher self? That's an excellent question. You already connected to your higher self. What happens is you're more in tune to what your physical mind, aka your ego, is telling you versus operating from who you actually are. Let's go through this, right? Let's do this. So, already in the this is the planet's electromagnetic spectrum scale. So this has a multitude of purposes here. So in one instance, we're looking at the planet's electromagnetic color spectrum, and humans that have physical bodies exist in the visible end of the spectrum, which is dealing with the red end of the spectrum. And these are your chakras. And these chakras, which I don't have the earth core here or the grounding core because I ran out of room, but the root, the solar plexus, right? All of this is tied to your physical body. Now, when you get to the heart, the throat, and the brow, this is connected to you, which is a spirit. You are not a body. You have a body. You are the volume that occupies the container of the body, right? Now, above the throat chakra is the brow chakra. This is where your mind's eye seats itself. In the brow chakra is pituitary gland is housed. That's right here. Right? So meditation is highly essential in being capable of accessing the transmissions that are being relayed from your higher self. And the higher self exists beyond the ninth chakra. That's called the sky chakra, which the Proto-Indo-Euro system will not teach you about the 9 chakra system because they don't have 9 chakras. They have 7 chakras. And they don't tell you about the chakra in your feet, and they don't tell you about the chakra in your that's above your head in the sky. But when the brow chakra is receiving enough neural activity, neuromelanin, psionic energy, and dark matter energy rushing into the pituitary gland, it becomes overstimulated, and this particular chakra opens up, and your mind's eye comes out like an antenna, and it's capable of picking up on the transmissions that exist beyond the purple end of the spectrum, the pearl end, the pearl white, which is the divine, right? And you'll receive the transmissions from your higher self. Now, your higher self operates with your higher senses, with your psychometry, intuition, clairvoyance, and telepathy, right? And we don't listen to our first mind. Our first mind is coming from the higher mind, from the divine. How many times you done said it before? Like, oh man, I should have listened to my first mind, right? Maybe I know you done said that a few times before, Terry Chronicles, right? Like, oh man, I should listen to my first mind. I second guess myself. Anytime that you second guess yourself, you're listening to your ego. Because your ego is incapable of leaving outside the range of your 5 senses. It could go into your emotions and your thoughts and your desires. But when you start going into the threshold of your thinking, then your physical mind, aka the ego, it can't go beyond that range. That's where you, the spirit, takes over from. And you start operating with these higher senses, telepathy, intuition, clairvoyance, and psychometry, right? And you will start moving through the mental field, which is right there in the heart. This is the axis of chakra grid. So when you, the spirit, which is also consciousness, is capable of moving past the 4th thoracic vertebrae into the brow chakra, now you're leaving outside the range of the central nervous system, and now you're starting to pick up on faster vibrations. And remember, these are not visible. It's not in the visible end of the spectrum. So as you start to leave outside the visible end of the spectrum, your ego starts to second guess everything that's going on because it's outside of the visible range. And your physical mind was constructed. Listen, your physical mind was constructed in order to operate all of your system's functions involuntarily. So let's say you had a Subway sandwich, a chip, and a soda. When you consume it, you don't be like, okay, body, I want you to give me enough acids to do. You ain't got to say nothing. The body just go ahead and do it. It's doing, the mind takes over those functions for you. It filters out the nutrients, the minerals, and, the different nuances of minerals that's in the food that you're consuming. It separates the water from it. It sends it into the digestive tract of the stomach, the colon, your kidneys. You're not thinking about none of that. That's what your physical mind, what we call our ego, is there. Even breathing, even seeing, even hearing. These are not things that you have to think about, right? You don't have to think about none of these things. The senses in your body are being controlled by your physical mind. Now, the mind sees itself in three compartments in the corporeal form. One is in the brow chakra, the other one is in the heart, and the next one is in the solar plexus, right? So when the brow chakra opens up, it's receiving the transmissions that are coming from the 13th chakra. And the 13th chakra is where your higher self seats itself at the top of the chakra grid, and it's picking up on the galactical transmissions that are coming from the galactical core of your galaxy. And those waves that are the cosmic waves, rays, and plasmatic cosmic energy is being matriculated or pulled through the gravitational field of your solar system and being sent through you that way through what's referred to as the 11th chakra. We call that the solar century. And that aspect of yourself is way more expanded than the temporal form that you currently reside in. All of that light can't be brought down into your body, but the antenna of the mind's eye goes out to receive the transmissions that it's sending. And you're receiving these all of the time. Unfortunately, many of us do not pick up on the promptings that are being sent from the higher aspects of ourselves, right? So someone has to vet these things out to you. And I tell students all the time, which they know, and they know what I'm going to say. You are not the body and you are not the mind. These are utilities that you utilize in order to interface with this reality, right? So that is an aspect of yourself that does not belong to this dimension. All of you could not fit into this dimension the same way that you are incapable of thriving inside of Legoland. You would crush Legoland, right? There's no way for you to capitulate into the form of a Legoland. You would literally have to go to the Lego manufacturer, give them a template of who you are, and leave that in their hands, and they'll make up a little Lego version of Terry Chronicles, and they'll put that inside of Legoland and give it a car to drive around. While the real Terry Chronicles is sitting back and observing and just place a dab of your essence into that aspect. That's what's going on with the physical body and the full totality of your omniversal consciousness, right? Which is giving you the ability to be one with all. And I've given this example before. And your question was, how can I connect with my higher self? You already connected to it. It's just somebody has to vet these things out to you. And that's what I'm here to do. So again, I'm going to go through the oceans of consciousness. When you were in your omnipresent state, you were an ocean of consciousness. But you wanted to and acquire a body. But while you were up there in the omniversal realm, right? The angelics told you, hey, you want a body? You got to go to the etheric realm first. And when you got to the etheric realm, they said, hey, you can't bring that full ocean with you. You gotta take on a form. Like what type of form? And I'm speaking hypothetically so you can grasp this connection. He said you need to get into a 5-gallon container. Like a 5-gallon container? Like, yeah. Like I can't put my whole oceanic self into there. He said, we know. You're going to acquire something called remember. And you said, what is remember? And they said, you're going to have to remember that you're not a 5-gallon bottle of consciousness. You're an ocean of consciousness. And you said, okay. So you came down to the etheric plane and you took on an etheric body. And when you took on that etheric body, you were able to see into the spirit plane. And when you seen on the spirit plane, you said, man, body. You said, man, you got to go to the spirit plane first. Said, come on, let's go. They told you, like, hey, you can't take all of this with you. That's too much consciousness for the spirit plane. You're going to have to put your consciousness into 1 gallon. They got 1 gallon down there. Like 1 gallon? Like, yeah. And when you got down there, they said, hey, you're going to have to do something called remind. Somebody going to have to remind you. Like, remind? What do remind mean? Somebody's going to have to remind you that you're not a 1 gallon of consciousness. But you will have to remember that you came from the etheric plane where you were 5 gallons of consciousness, where you were told to remember that you wasn't that 5 gallon of consciousness, but you was an ocean of consciousness that came from an omniversal presence. And you said, okay, I got to remind myself to remember that I'm not this 1 gallon, and remember I'm not 5 gallons, and remember that I'm really an ocean. He said, okay, now I'm ready to go down there to earth. I want to be a material body. They said, yeah, you can go down there, but you're going to have to remember something. Like, oh, yeah, I remember. I'm a 5 gallons of consciousness. No, I got to tell you, when you go down there, you can't take that gallon with you. That's way too much. Like, man, so how much of my consciousness can I take there? And they showed you a little Coke can. Said, yeah, you got to take 12 ounces of your consciousness. And you're going to do something that's called forget. You said forget. Like, yeah, you're going to forget why you needed to be reminded to remember that you was really an ocean of consciousness in the first place. Like, well, damn, how am I going to remember? Like, shit, we don't know. But they're going to give you enough RAM. See that? That's a computer term, random access memory. They're going to give you enough RAM to store all that data that you collect while you're in the physical dimension. So you disconnected yourself from yourself in order to have the ability to see yourself in a visible spectrum. But that connection was never lost. It never went nowhere. You just forgot about it. And what I am is I am a reminder. I'm here to remind people that you have that connection. And you can do it quite easily, but it takes some consistency. And the consistency that you have to exhibit is making a suggestion and a request right as you go to sleep to connect to your higher self. But when you make this connection, you're not in our community. That's why I tell people to purchase the tech, come join our community, go through my vetting process, come join our community, purchase a piece of orgone, talk to me on the phone. I talk to everybody on the phone. We got over 200 members in our community. I talk to everybody on the phone so I can see what it is that you're capable of understanding. This with a few of my students, they almost killed themselves. I just got to get that disclaimer. They attempted to draw their higher self into their physical body, and that's just too much light to pull down into this temporal form. That light consciousness will move through every cell in your body, and you will experience something that's called a spontaneous combustion. Right? and I don't know where you at, Chronicles. I don't know how deep you go with it, but your higher self is always sending you promptings. And That's what led you here tonight. So when you talk about how can I connect with my higher self, it already connected to you and sent you in here and put you in the trajectory of a being that is in alignment with his higher self. And I pick up on the intuitive promptings of my higher self. And I have been doing that for some years. I even have a strong rapport with that aspect of my being. And this is something we're going to go over in at the 1089 seminar that we're holding in Atlanta, Georgia. That's going to be on March the 7th and the 8th. And, tickets are available on the website, as seen over my right shoulder, 1089techvision.com. Get the tickets if you can. If not, join us in San Antonio, Texas on July the 26th and or the 27th, where we're going to have a different type of seminar. And I'm showing people how to construct an activated and start interfacing with the afterlife and depositing energy into their dearly departed so that they can be strong enough to make it through the thresholds of the purgatory that many of them are trapped in. Some been trapped there for several generations, and we're out of touch right now, collectively, right? But I hope that answers your question on how to connect with your higher self. Thank you, Timekeeper. You said it's 11:11. I didn't even know that. That's not 11:11. Yeah, so that's how you connect to your higher self, though. Just in short, when you go to sleep tonight, be like, hey, I want to connect to my higher self. Higher self, meet me in the plane of my dream. Now that aspect of yourself is way more expanded. See, how is the collection of memory from the RAM you mentioned in the physical universe connected to the people and reincarnation, incarnation cycles? Yeah, you went way beyond just out the areas. You asked one question and then you try to go beyond that. Stay right where you at. The RAM mentioned in the physical universe connected. I didn't say nothing about reincarnations and incarnation cycles. I never said that. That's putting words in my mouth. I said that the realm is connected to the beings that you was connected to in this incarnation. So I'm going to use myself as an example. My parent, my mother, may the ancestors be with her, who preceded me in death. My mother is available to me through random access memory because I have a lot of shared memories with my mother. So the random access memory is a middle ground, if you will. It's a bridge that connects me to the afterlife through my random access memory. Just like my cousin Nod, may the ancestors be with him. Cousin Nod passed away 2 weeks ago. And I have Nod in my memory, right? He's there in my memory. I know it. And we got a lot of memories together. Our birthday is the same day. So that's how you access the RAM, right? And that RAM, that's just in you, that's for your awakened consciousness. Now, your subconscious mind, that vault is quite vast. It operates on an eternal frequency, not an infinite one. Now, the RAM that you have access to while you're awake, because that's what that RAM, that's dealing with the body and the five senses, which is dealing with the awakened RAM, right? So that random access memory that you have access to on a daily basis, you use it when you get up and you pee. Some dudes, they get up and they grab they Johnson with their left hand and they piss. Some people lift both up the toilets up the toilet seat. Some people don't. They just aim right through the toilet seat. Either which way you do it, you're pulling from your random access memory to pull off that feat, right? Some people lift them up both up. Some people got to grab their Johnson. Some people just need to pull their thing out the hole. And I'm being this intimate so you would know, you can grasp the concept of what I say about accessing that random access memory, right? But when reincarnations and incarnations, that don't have nothing to do with the random access memory of the awakened mind. Now you're going into deeper vaults of the subconscious mind. And as far as a reincarnation, you can't tether yourself in your awakened consciousness to a reincarnation. Maybe you might have worded that the wrong way or something, but the physical universe is connected to people that actually exist in the physical dimension, right? Those that have went over into the afterlife, right, which is outside the range of, I don't know where you got in that reincarnation and incarnation cycles. You might be looking at how they cycle back. You know, you're not gonna be able to access them if they didn't already cycle back into another incarnation and you trying to tap into them through your random access memory. It ain't gonna happen in that time because a person can't incarnate back again until the memory of them is removed from everyone that has transitioned from this realm that holds a file with their memory on it. In other words, in order for me to be totally removed from this realm of existence, my children would have to be transitioned. Their children would have to had been transitioned over, and their children's children would have had to be removed in order for me to qualify to re-register and come back again. You know, and I'm just saying that on the speculation of the question that you asked, because it wasn't really too clear outside the range of what you said about the RAM collection of memory for the RAM in the physical universe, right? Because that's connected to you in the visible spectrum. And segueing back into the question that the being Terry Chronicles asks, that aspect of your consciousness that you have available to you, I call it a Coca-Cola can. It's like a Coca-Cola can size of consciousness, right? That's not the totality of you. That's just how much of you can register in this dense form. See, that made sense for you? All right, right on, Aries. Ask the question a little bit clearer next time so I could respond, because it's like I don't like to speculate and guess on what people meant, as you do know that, right? You've been around for a minute. You know how I get out, but yeah, when you're dealing in the corporeal form and you're dealing with the awakened consciousness, it's very limited in what it's capable of accessing and doing. And the governor that's making you feel, right, emotions, making you feel like you're here, is your own ego. We call that the electromagnetic generated organism. That's what's cock blocking us from the mental, is your ego. Because it's already got autonomy over your five senses so that you don't have to focus on breaking the food down that you ate for lunch. Your physical mind, the ego, does all of that shit for you. You say, hey, boss, don't worry about that, boss. I got that. I'm going to take care of that turkey sandwich for you, boss. Take care of this lettuce and this bread and this cheese and them pickles, that vinegar. Don't worry. I know exactly where to send that shit to. Hey, y'all get on up. Get on up, liver. Come on, filter this shit on out. Come on, kidneys. Come on, heart. Pump that blood. It's doing all that stuff on your behalf. And once it's finished with all the tasks, listen, if you're not aware of yourself, your physical mind is going to be aware of that. And it's going to start making suggestions to you the same way it's doing to your body. And it sounds exactly like you. So you think that that's you talking to you, but that's your mind talking to you, and it's using your voice because it know that you're more adherent, you're more coherent, to listening to your own damn voice, but that's not even you. You feel me? So when you break past the threshold of its governor and you start to take back autonomy over the mind, which can be obtained through meditation. You got to look at your consciousness like it's a pond. Look at your mind like it's a pond. And it's a lot of ripples in your pond. And in the bottom, as you go past the face of the deep of that pond, all of your thoughts, words, and actions are inside of that pond. And while this stuff is inside of the pond, you can't see it because it's all these ripples. So you got to get the ripples to subside. And you do that by sending the body and the mind into a theta state. That's bringing it into silence, stillness, and darkness. And the way that you entice the mind to be seduced by your will is you have to have your eyes half open and half closed like this. You have to relax. And like I talk about in the 1089 tech community, right? It looked like my eyes was closed, but they just half open and half closed. Now your mind can't make the distinction as to if it's in the awakened state or are you going into the unconscious state. It don't know. It can't make up its mind. And for me, I could do it like matter of factly because I've been meditating for so many years. He said, how will you know your inner voice over your mind? Oh, that's quite simple. Because you start thinking. Remember I told you got to transcend thinking? When you start thinking about it too much, that's your ego. It's panicking because you are starting to transcend where it's able to go. Because it's only built for your five senses. You know, that's where your mixed emotions come from, your desires. It try to suggest to you what to do with your desires. But by the time you reach the threshold of your thinking, oh, it's too late. Because now you're not thinking about it. You're just doing it. You feel me? And your mind going to be like, no, second guess yourself. That's not the right thing. It's encouraging you to be uncertain. It encourages you to be doubtful. That's not you. That's your mind doing that. And we tend to listen to our mind a little too much. And that's what triggers us to overthink. But you got to know yourself. And again, remember, I'm always saying this. I'm going to say it again. You are not the body and you are not the mind. He said, what is the mind if the brain is a transmitter? That's an excellent question. The mind it's a lucid, intangible force that was gifted to you. And it breaks down into three portions. You have here, which is the conscious mind in the heart, because that's where the mind seeks itself, is in the heart. That's the unconscious mind. And then you got the solar plexus. That's the subconscious mind. That's where all of your experiences, your thoughts, words, and actions are stored there. Steaming olive oil and leaves has many benefits in your life. Okay. Thank you for that, golden arrow-odds. So that's your mind. That's why your heart is beating so fast, because your mind is seated there. but you are not your mind. That's your utility that you utilize to interface into this reality. And just like you, when the mind enters into this dimension, it splits off into 3 sections, and it finds 3 seats to sit in within your body. I hope that answers your question. But it is not tangible. And the mind does not like to be observed. So you have to give your mind a form, and you have to give it a shape. And the way we do that is by showing it through, and I'll post it in the community room. Right? I'll post it on the community room and show it to you, because I don't want to take down what I got up on the board. But it's in the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, and your binary glands, just right on the side of your temples. You know, when you inhale the sunlight, man, what happened? When you inhale the sunlight, the photonic rays from the sun bounce off the inner bridge of your nose, and it bounces off the pituitary gland, hits your binary glands, and then your pineal gland, and it creates a tetrahedron in your head. This gives shape to the mind. This is giving an outline for the mind to generate a form, right? But that's only facilitating your consciousness. The unconscious self is right here. You call it conscious, but it's really unconscious. That aspect of yourself stays unconscious when you go to sleep and leave the physical dimension and enter into the spiritual universe, which your physical mind, the unconscious mind, refers to as a dream. And the reason why it's calling it a dream, because it's beyond the threshold of its understanding, and it can't go beyond the thresholds of thinking. So since it can't go into that range beyond thinking, it has to wait for you to come back to your body, and it attempts to process through its RAM, through the random access memory, what you was experienced when you left out the body. But it's incapable of doing that. You know what I mean? Because the file too large. So it say, oh, that didn't really happen. That was just a dream. That wasn't real, but it was real. To put this down, to break it down even further, to liquefy what I'm saying, right? 5 minutes in the physical universe is 5 hours in the spiritual universe, right? So 60 minutes in the physical universe is the equivalent of 300 hours in the spiritual universe. Now, hypothetically, 1 hour's rest in the physical universe is like acquiring 12 days and 6 hours in the spiritual universe. That's almost 2 weeks that you've been gone from your body in 1 hour's rest in the physical universe. So when you wake up, you can't experience the memory of those 12 days outside of your body because of your RAM. Your RAM might got access, and I'm just saying it hypothetically, to 500 gigs. It got access to 500 gigs of data. But that 1 hour nap that you just took, that shit was about 10 terabytes. That one. So what the mind, what the unconscious mind does is it takes that file and it fragmentizes that file and pulls out the highlights and turns it into a trailer that your physical mind assumes to be a dream. And you be like, oh man, it's not you. That's your mind saying, I don't remember none of that. You remember it, but your mind is fighting with you to show the distinction for Shamari. So when you wake up from that dream, you remembered it, but your physical mind wasn't there to remember that shit. So it start telling you that that was a dream. Oh, that was a dream. That didn't really happen. It's time to get up for work. That's all it knows is this side. It don't know the other side, right? And the mind is very subtle because it doesn't like to be observed. It doesn't like to be watched. And it damn sure don't like to be tamed, especially if you've been giving it too much time to do what the hell it want to. Right? And to carry on with Ronald Burke, shouts out to Ronald Burke, the brain is not a transmitter. The brain is a processor. The brain processes the data that is being projected to it from the mind, because this is where the mind is. The mind is here and the mind is here. Now, once you got enough neuroactivity built up in the neural cortex, it stimulates the pituitary gland, which is connected to the brow chakra, and then the vortex of the chakra begins to open, and your mind's eye comes out of that, and that's your transmitter. That's your antenna. And that antenna is picking up on the higher aspects of who you are on a divine level. And that aspect of yourself sits in the 13th chakra. They call that the cosmic gateway or the galactical gateway, the cosmic sentry. And it's picking up on the transmissions that's being emitted out of your galactical core. And it's choosing which files to send down to the mind's eye, which is where your intuition is housed. And it won't go down any further, right? Yeah, that's going outside of the time, outside of temporal time, right? Because we on solar time. Our time is based on the measurement of our planet and the time that it takes for our planet to make a full cycle around our sun, right? Because the planet is over 23,564 miles in equilateral diameter or circumference. So that's our conception of time on world. When you go off world, time is a lot more expanded because you're in a whole different universe. And a lot of people are not taught that, but you're in the physical universe while you're awake. When you're unconscious, when your conscious is free, meaning it's not limited to the body, you enter into another universe we call the spiritual universe, which actually predates the physical universe. So it's not adhering to the same degrees of time, right? And that aspect of you that operates from both dimensions is beyond time. It's outside the thresholds of time. You know, you write about that. And that's where the past, the present, and the future all exist simultaneously, right? But you can't operate with that much conscious in this dimension. I was telling people last time I was on the live, your spiritual body, which is your etheric double, is about 30 to 40 feet taller than your physical body because your Merkaba is about 60 feet in diameter. And that covers the circumference. That's your etheric auric field. And you use that vehicle to traverse higher dimensions, listen, than the fourth dimension. That's what's going to get you to the fifth dimension, which you got to get access. Someone has to let you into the fifth dimension. You just can't go there because you want to. There were gateways that you had to cross to get there. And that information is sent from the galactical core of your galaxy and is sending the instructions to the corporeal form on what it needs to do in order to make that particular jump. You follow? This is why it says in in the ancient axioms that predate antiquity, spend every day of your life preparing for the afterlife. For in doing so, you gain the keys to eternal life. Because who you are spiritually exists on an eternal frequency. Who you are physically exists on an infinite frequency. Right? So when you're, yes, I'm a master of alignment, right? I am a teacher. Some people do call me their master teacher, but those are for my students. I'm here to bring people into alignment with the remembering process of being reminded why you're Ray incarnated, which you say reincarnated. You're Ray incarnated in the first place because we're down here functioning with not enough memory. Look at that memo of Ray. Ray is what the Happy Now Valley referred to as the sun. Listen, sun is the Latin word soul, right? Soul is the mental energy that is you. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. And the soul, at its lowest density, the residue of the soul generates something called ether. And ether, at its lowest density, generates the residue of something that you refer to as spirit. The spirit, at its lowest density, generates the residue of something that we refer to as plasma, right? Which is an electromagnetic gas. And that gas is acquiesced into the pineal gland of your daddy, and you get coded through the 432 hertz frequency, which is middle C, and then you become a C man. And that C man is vibrating on the resonance of the planet, which gives you makes you come through the body, and you acquire a mother and a father. So you can experience life in an emotional and a thought-provoking way. It causes you to desire to thrive here in this dimension. You follow? And while you're here in this dimension, what your goal is to do is to get all these chakras spinning in the right direction. So that when that brow chakra opens up, the mind eye comes out, and now you can pick up on the transmissions that are coming from the higher ends of the planet's electromagnetic spectrum. Because we was talking about this on TikTok, and humans operate on the visible end of the spectrum, but there are beings that live on the orange end of the spectrum, and through your senses, you can't see emotions, but you can feel them through your senses. You can't see people's thoughts, but you can kind of guesstimate about their thoughts. You don't know their desires, but you can see it in their eyes. You can make a guesstimation, right? And then when it comes to the yellow end, you start dealing with thinking. And now you can't depend on your five senses. You got to use your extrasensory perception, right? Which deals with telepathy, intuition, clairvoyance, and psychometry. This is transcending thinking. You're not thinking about it no more. Now you operating on a gnosis. They call that an innateness. You're being innate, and you just automatically know due to your clairvoyance. See that? These are your higher senses. Now the mental realm, this is where the mind seats itself, where the physical mind seats itself. And it's a keeper attempting to stop you from taking autonomy over it. So a lot of people get blocked between the yellow and the green because they haven't learned the abilities of meditation. They haven't learned to sit there, tap into that theta wave, because the theta wave is what causes all of your cells in your body to go into stasis. And it also causes the mind to go into stasis. And then the mind, if you're not giving it something, you're not using your focal points to make the mind focus on something externally, then the mind begins to collapse on itself, and the proverbial pond begins to make the ripples subside, and the water becomes still, and now you can see clearly to the bottom of the pond, and you can see all your thoughts, words, and actions that have caused ripples as it splashed into the proverbial pond of your mind. He said, can we meditate in the middle of commotion? Yes, meditation pretty much puts you on a transcendental state. That's the theta wave. And you're able to access, they call that the alpha wave. You can stay in that flow. You can stay in the alpha wave. Your theta wave, you can make your theta waves and your alpha waves integrate into one, all the way up into the gamma wave, right? Say like Michael Jordan. I'm sure you're familiar with Michael Jordan. When he was on the basketball court, that was meditation for him. He was meditating on the court. You could pull up this old, it's an old interview he did with Lisa Leslie. Shouts out to Lisa Leslie and Michael Jordan, Black Jesus, the Black Cat. And she wanted him to teach her, you know, how to perfect her jumper. And he was like, when you shoot a free throw, do you think about it? She was like, no. He was like, exactly. Just stop thinking about everything else and just do it. She was like, so you don't think about what you're doing? He said, no, I know exactly what I want to do. He said, I know every dimension that the ball could spin into when I hit it off the backboard. And y'all remember how immaculate people don't give him enough credit for the way that man used to finish around the rim. That shit was ridiculous. He was not missing. And shouts out to Craig Hodges. Craig Hodges said, yeah, that's because of that gripper. He had that big ass hand. So you foul that nigga, he's not going to throw off his shot. He's going to take the foul, take the impact, and find a way to put the ball. And he not thinking about it. He didn't already thought about it. He's just going through the motions, right? So it just depends on what allows you to tap into that proverbial Zen state that allows you to block out the commotion. You will hear a lot of people say, yeah, everything just got still. I was on the court. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't see nothing. I just knew it. And you see that with Steph Curry a lot. That nigga throw a shot up and turn around before the ball even finished making an arc. And he know that shit going in. When he get like that, because he did it so many times. And that's in alignment with the sequential path of masteries that I've spoken about several times. I might need to upload that short to the YouTube. But if you do something 19 times, it get recorded to your conscious memory, regardless of what it is. If you do it 38 times, it gets recorded to your subconscious memory. If you do it 57 times, it gets crystallized into your consciousness. 76 times, it begins to leave an imprint in the external reality. When you do it 95 times, now you're on the path of mastery. You're starting to master whatever it is that you're doing consistently. By the time you get to 133 times, now you begin to master it. Case in point, I'll be sitting here uploading something to the school app. Y'all follow us on the school. You can go to the TikTok and click the link, or click on one of my other videos. I got the link in the description. It'll be in there for this upload for people that's watching this in hindsight. And I'm doing that, and the whole time my wife be like, damn, how was you typing like that? You talking on the phone and you watching something on TV. Like, I'm just dialed in. And then I got another phone over here and I'm uploading the video. I don't even think about that shit. I just do it. So that's my example of giving you about being in the middle of commotion. Now, if you want to go into transcendental classical meditation, you definitely want to get somewhere quiet. You definitely want to do that because you don't want to open up your psychic center in a place where all that commotion is going on and there's some type of being that has an attachment to them and that attachment decides to jump off on your ass. I done seen that happen to somebody before. You know, one of them little hobo hippie people. It was a white dude. I was in Austin one time and the dude was sitting there trying to meditate in the middle of all this fucking commotion, and something jumped in his body. I seen it do it, and it took his ass over. He started tripping. I'm like, damn, you shouldn't do that. You want to reserve a quiet space for you to get into classical meditation. This stuff we're going to be talking about at our event in Atlanta on March the 7th and the 8th. Tickets are still available, you guys. Now, the people that get the tickets, once you get your tickets, I'm going to tell you guys the place that we're going to meet on March the 6th. Because we're going to meet up in a park. I'm going to go over how to effectively inhale sunlight with the breathing techniques and how to decalcify the whole endocrine system so that the chakras can spin in the right direction. Then I'm going to pull out the Baruti staff. This is the Baruti staff, for those that are not aware. But the Baruti staff, I'm going to put out the Baruti staff. And for my VIP attendees, I'm going to hit you with the staff prior to the seminar. You're going to get hit with the staff, and that's going to accelerate what you just did out there, because we're going to take our shoes and our socks off and connect to the ley lines of the planet and get enough of a plasmatic charge going. Then we're going to go through meditation. I'm going to show you guys how to effectively meditate. And like I've been teaching people in the tech community, the best way to meditate is it's a prerequisite to meditation. And that prerequisite to your meditation shows up in silence. I tell people to observe silence for at least 10 minutes prior to you going into meditation. This allows all of the thoughts in your mind to move through the reservoir in your consciousness prior to you entering into meditation. And this kind of subtly brings forth your body, your physical mind, into not showing resistance or defiance towards being put into a transcendental state, because it don't like to be observed. Your mind does not like to be observed. It does not like to be tamed. And I've been meditating for over 28 years now, and these methods are very effective that I need to start teaching people, right? Need to start showing you guys how this stuff is done. Shouts out to my beloved sister, Jess the Divine Hippie. She holds a lot of meditation classes. Shouts out to Jessie the Divine Hippie. She also a member of our community. And I remember the first time she bought a piece of tech from me. And she was like, she said, did you learn this or did it come to you all just in cosmic intelligence? No, I had a teacher. I have a teacher. I have a spiritual guide too, right? Who is a mystical master. And I tell everybody all the time, you got to have a teacher. You got to have a guide. You got to have a mentor, an advisor, right? Some brothers that's more erudite than you in order to ascertain these experiences with fluidity. I know brothers that know how to levitate and all that. I can't walk through a wall yet. I almost did it. But I just can't, I ain't that locked in, right? But yeah, you gotta have some instructions. You got to have a teacher. You got to have a guide. You have to, man. I say that all the time. Anybody to tell you that they self-taught and, man, get the hell away from them. Because that being hasn't been corrected enough. And my first 7 years of my spiritual awakening journey, I was corrected for the first 7 years. And I didn't get an attitude. Some people can't take being corrected, but I loved it. It refined me and it groomed me to be able to be a polished teacher and be able to communicate people that are on several different levels of understanding. You know, some people don't have the patience to teach others. They don't. They get real upset and mad and angry that they can't understand the points that they're making. And that's not being fair to someone that's receptive to what you have to say. You know, and that type of stuff you have to be prepped and groomed and conditioned to do. And I got to give a salute to my Supreme Grandmaster teacher that put me in that position, right? And the erudite Supreme Grandmaster students up under him, right? And the adept, advanced, erudite students up under them that were a lot more seasoned than I was in my humble beginnings and neophyte stages, right? But that's very important. Yeah. But it took me 3 years to even realize meditating effectively. I could feel it internally, but for somebody to point it out, you know, my mother, may the ancestors be with her, because she got initiated into the mystical order with me as well. Because I brought my mother up. And we were meditating one day, and she told me, she said, Baba, I seen I couldn't see you. I said, you couldn't see me? She said, I could see you, but you was a different color. I said, what color was I? She said, you was green. She said, your whole body was green, and I couldn't even see your face. It was just a green glitter all over you. I was like, damn, for real? She was like, yeah, I seen it last time too. I just didn't say nothing. I'm telling you this time. I just had to tell you. And ever since then, I really got confident in my ability to meditate, right? I really started dialing in. And I got a whole Library of Congress of testimonies that I could give you on the experiences I had just with meditation, right? Just with the meditation. And it's like, man, that's why I said that's a very essential component. Someone earlier asked about dialing into the higher self. Man, you got to get meditation down. Because see, right here, when you're meditating, right? It's right here in the heart, in the mental. That's the axis of the chakra grid. So you're forcing the physical mind to sit his ass down. While you start to move through the mind's eye and you go through the borders of this chakra and go through the mind's eye, listen, and you traverse this dimension and go over into the spiritual universe. And that's when time collapses. So let me give you this hypothetical. It's not even a hypothetical, right? This is what occurs. I go into meditation. It's 10:16 when I enter into the meditation. I turn on my meditation music. The meditation music playing is 10:16. Let's just say the clip is about 30 minutes long. I done been in meditation for an hour. I come out of the meditation. The tape is still playing, but it's near the end. I look at the clock and it's 10:18. And I know I've been in meditation for an hour, but only 2 minutes has passed in the dimension that I'm in. You hear that? This is spiritual knowledge. And spiritual knowledge spooks a lot of people, especially a lot of intellectuals, because they feel like everything needs to be explained to them. And then when you're dealing with spiritual knowledge, it transcends your reasoning. It transcends your rationale, practicality, and It's like, that shit beyond explanation. And you just have to accept it. And it just takes practice. Takes practice. Some people can get it on their first try, some people don't. One of my students, shouts out to Lundy. Hey, Lundy. I'm going to say that every time. But Lundy, when she first came to me, she was being picked on by the little sisters in her little Hotep group or whatever. And they said that she wasn't locked in and that she wasn't spiritual. And, these women could be so damn brass, right? And she was like, she wanted to learn how to meditate. So I started taking her through the steps. I was teaching everybody in the community, but she really wanted to dial in. And I told her what happens when you know that your third eye is open. And he said, that's like they saying that God's eye one day is like a year. It's like, and what you're referring to as God, it's 1,089 days to man is one day to them. That's one day to the gods. 1,089 days to us is one day to them. And I'm always saying that 1089 is the magic number. If you can't prove to you, because like I tell my students, it ain't about what you can prove to me. It ain't what you can prove to Instagram or to TikTok or YouTube. It's what you can prove to yourself. And that's what empowers you, what you're capable of proving to yourself, right? But Lundy did the meditation and she followed my instructions. She said, ain't nothing happening. I said, you got to be patient. It's going to happen. I said, everything just going to turn black. She said, how do I know that when that's going to happen? I said, you're going to try to open your eyes. You're going to know your eyes ain't closed, but then everything around you going to go black. You ain't going to be able to feel to the left of you, to the right of you. You ain't going to feel nothing behind you. Hell, you might not even feel nothing up under your feet. That's when your eyes are wide open. And she called me one day. She was like, it happened. It happened. She was like, it turned dark. Everything went dark. She was like, I could hold it for about 5 minutes. I was so excited. And then she just kept doing it. She was doing it so much, I could feel Lundy when she meditate. I could feel her meditations. I was like, oh, shit. And I called her, hey, Lundy, I felt that. You're in there meditating. And she's like, how did you know? That shit go beyond explanation. Certain things go beyond explanations. And certain people don't be that. I got to know exactly how this and that. And even those answers are unveil itself to you, right? You just got to be patient enough and receive the transmission from your oversoul. Because it's sending it to you. It's giving you all the answers that you already didn't know that you had, right? Didn't know that you had those answers already stored into the vaults of your subconscious mind. It's just that many people are not capable of accessing that. You got to have a spiritual guide. You got to, all right? You just got to have one, man. I hope that answered your question, Ronald. Shouts out to Ronald Burke. I think Ronald, you in the school or you on TikTok? I forget which one, but yeah, you guys got any other questions? Okay, I knew it was somewhere. I was like, man, that name real familiar. Ronald Burke. Yeah, he been rocking with me. Shouts out to Ronald Burke, man. Yeah, see, on the TikTok, it won't let y'all ask them questions. It be blocking the question. TikTok be on that hating bullshit, man. They like, no, we don't want him to open up no cans of worms over here. They gave me a violation strike and restricted my live, and it was like you're talking too much you're giving too much misinformation. But if I started saying Jesus is king and, you know, nobody loved me like my Lord and all of that bullshit, they'll let that fly. They'll bring 10,000 people into the room because they'll be like, oh man, this dude casting spells. That's what we need, the people to be dormant. We don't need the people to transcend thinking. He telling people to transcend thinking and don't let the AI think for you. I mean, yeah, it's good to hear psycho information, man. They do not want people to let me think like that. They would be happy as hell if I had a blunt in my mouth and I'm up there dancing and acting like Itchy and Scratchy off the Simpsons and shit. They have 100,000 people in that room. Watch what I'm saying. But I'm up here empowering people and getting people to expand what they're capable of being aware of. And it's like, man, I'm not going to allow that to discourage me because I know a lot of people on that site. But we're going to start rocking over here on the YouTube. And I'm going to make my presence felt on these YouTube streets. Because there's a whole bunch of malarkey on here. A bunch of people talking a whole bunch of nothing. But there are corners in the YouTube universe where people are dropping information and data, and this is the place to be. So I've been on here before. Y'all could go check some of my old pages at Patah Baby, and you can see me when I looked a lot younger, and I was dropping this information in. I didn't just start this because of TikTok. It started off, was I on the Facebook? Yeah, I was on the Facebook. But they had blocked one of my Facebooks. I done did like 3 Facebooks. Now they took all my Facebooks pictures. I was so upset the first time. I didn't cry nothing, but I was pissed because, my son's baby pictures and shit, I ain't got access to that. One day I'm going to be able to get all that stuff back. But aside from that, man, I got old YouTube videos that's over 13 years old on here. You know what I mean? And I'm talking the same stuff that I'm talking now, but of course it's a lot more polished than what I was talking then, because I wasn't 40 then. Now I'm over 40 now, and I'm a lot more polished, seasoned, and refined, and experienced, right? A little bit more diligent and obedient, with what I got going on. And I have to tip my hat to the technology as well, because the technology and the broadband frequency allows, more fluidity with recording and using cameras and all of that. And so I'm quite grateful to that. But I'm out here to have a positive impact on this reality. Yeah, he said the way I used to throw shot. Yeah, you see that, huh? Yeah, man. We all a work in progress. 29 years. In the increment at a time. I didn't rush. I was very patient. Very patient. That was the first thing I learned in, through the pylons of Wahani, was Al Sabur, which is, I don't know if that's Arabic or if that's Aramaic, but that means to be patient. The patient one. You got to be patient with yourself, or you will become a patient. People be too anxious, and that raises your blood pressure. And when the blood pressure raises, oh shit, man, you're in trouble. That blood pressure start rising up, But yeah, it's all about just being consistent. Hopefully we can get Ronald Burke to come join the community, come join us on the Google chat. Tomorrow we will be doing Moon Magic Mondays. Hopefully you guys is up for that. All right? Because we in the full moon. We're in the section of the full moon. And now it's that time. now that we in the full moon, everyone should be having their harvest. And that's what I'm going through right now, especially on the internal end, which I made sure that I hone my focus in on my internal and my external as well. But we'll go over these things tomorrow in the 1089 tech space. All right, you guys. So we're going to get off of here for right now. If you haven't subscribed to the school, come on in and get it while it's free, because it's free right now. You know what I mean? Come get it while it's free, and we'll finish this tomorrow. And hopefully we had finished Moon Magic Mondays before 11/11 and come back on the YouTube. I'm going to start doing more YouTubes. So keep looking out for me. Hit that notification bell. And we're going to be back in this great day and time called Noontide Ray. I've been your beloved brother, Dr. Ray of Noontide Tech for 1089techvision.com and the 1089 Tech community. And love. Wadu.